What's up, everybody? Dwayne Bryant here from wagertalk.com. And I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The bad news is there is no MLB trend report today. The good news, and this is why you're watching, is that it's NFL and college football trend report day, and I have 11 undefeated NFL and college football trends for you for this weekend's games. And guys, these trends are a combined 117 and 0. So we are going to get right into these 11 trends, guys. And as always, please never make a bet based on any single trend or angle. I say this in every video. I put it out there in the comments and on social media, and it just doesn't seem to get through to some people. These are not plays. These are trends. There are many trends for each game that point to both sides. What you need to do if you're going to incorporate trends into your handicapping process is you need to weigh out, look at all the relevant trends. And believe me, there's a lot of trends that are complete bullshit that you can throw right out. Weed through those, find the relevant trends, and then weigh those out and see if they weigh more heavily to one side or the other. That is how trends are used best. But you should never be making a bet based on any single trend you see anywhere, including in my videos. So let's go to college football first, and we're going to look at trend number 1. And in this trend, we are looking at Northwestern. And when you do SDQL here with college football teams, trust me, I don't know all these abbreviations either. Some of them make sense. Some of them are, it takes a while till you learn them because there's a lot of teams. So sometimes those abbreviations aren't what you think they should be. But this one, we're looking at Northwestern. We're going back 2 seasons, basically, to the 2021 season. We're looking at them when their previous game was an ATS win. So previous and then ATS for against the spread win. So this doesn't mean Northwestern won their previous game. It just means that they covered the spread in their previous game. And we're going to hit the SDQL button. And you'll see that Northwestern is 0-8 straight up and against the spread in these games, losing by an average of 29 points per game, losing to the spread by more than 16 points per game. And you can see that this is active on Saturday with Northwestern, a sizable road underdog at Duke. And again, if you look at a lot of these other games, they were a double-digit underdog in most of these games and more than a 2-touchdown underdog in more of them than not. So this price range fits right into this query. With that, we're going to go right into trend number 2. And for trend number 2, we're going to look at Colorado State. We're going to go back to and include last season when they are off a loss. So this is a straight-up loss. We'll hit the SDQL button, and you'll see that the over-under is 0-9. No overs, 9 unders. And these games stayed under by an average of more than 10 points per game. It's a nice margin for an over-under. And you can see that this is active on Saturday with Colorado State visiting Colorado. A nice in-state rivalry game there. So let's move right into college trend number 3. And guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell for notifications. I would greatly appreciate it. For trend number 3, we're looking at a coach here. We're looking at Coach Dana Holgorsen. And we're looking at him since he's come over to coach Houston. We're looking at him at home with Houston when he is off a game in which 60 or more total points were scored. So it's previous points plus their previous opponent's points, and that's how you get the total points scored from the previous game, and we're looking at that to be 60 or higher. We will hit the STQL button, and you'll see that Holgerson with Houston at home, when they're off a game with 60 or more total points being scored, they are just 0-9 against the spread. The average point spread, the average line in these games was Houston -8, and they lost by more than a field goal per game. So they lost to the spread by almost 11.5 points per game on average. I love to see those double-digit margins. And you can see that this is active on Saturday with Houston hosting TCU. Moving right along to trend number 4. And for trend number 4, we're going to look at Arizona State. We're going to go back 2 seasons, include the 2021 season, when they are facing a non-conference opponent. We'll hit the STQL button. And again, I love these simple trends. You can see the over-under is 0-9, no overs, 9 unders. These games stayed under by 8 1/3 points per game on average. You can see that this is active on Saturday with Arizona State hosting Fresno State. And again, I love the simple trends, especially in football. Outside of a coach or team or the date or season parameter, I don't like there to usually be more than 1 or 2 more parameters beyond that. And I'm sure you'll see that as I go through these trends, that is the theme. So for trend number 5, and again, if you haven't, please hit the thumbs up to like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. For trend number 5 here, we're going to look at Matt Rule. Matt Rule, when he's basically coming off 2 straight road games. So his previous game was away, and his 2 games ago was also on the road. And we'll hit the STQL button. And you can see that his teams are a perfect 9-0 against the spread. Winning against the spread, I mean, the average line was almost a pick 'em. They were an average favorite of -1.2, and yet they won by an average of 16 points per game, therefore covering the spread by nearly 15 points per game. Gotta love that margin. And this is active for the first time this season with him coaching Nebraska as they host Northern Illinois. You can see this was active during his Temple days. You can see it was active a couple times during his Baylor years. Then he went to the NFL and shit the bed. And now he comes back to college, where he is a good college football coach. And we'll see if this trend continues on Saturday. So let's move to trend number 6. Trend number 6, we're going to look at Iowa. So you don't have to remember that abbreviation for the team because they just spell that one right out. We're going to go back to 2021 again, so basically back 2 seasons, when they are facing a non-conference opponent. And you can see that the over-under here is 0-10. No overs, 10 unders. And these games stayed under by an average of 11.7 points per game. And this is active on Saturday with Iowa hosting non-conference opponent Western Michigan. And that brings me to my 7th and final college football trend for this weekend. And guys, if you want me to look up any other trends or angles for, it should say this weekend's games, or if you found any trends or angles that are active for this weekend's games, drop that in the comments and I will look those up and get to them when I can. For college trend number 7, we are going to look at Oregon State. We're going to go back and include last season when they are coming off a straight up win. We'll hit the STQL button, and you'll see that the Oregon State Beavers are a perfect 10-0 against the spread. They were an average favorite of basically minus a touchdown, and they won the games by an average of 18.7 points per game. So they covered the spread by an average of 11.6 points per game. And I love seeing a double-digit ATS margin. And you can see that this is active on Saturday. Oregon State hosting San Diego State. So that does it for our college football trends. I'm going to now have to switch over to the NFL database. So just click NFL there, go down to NFL SDQL query. That will take you to the NFL database where I have 4 more trends to go over. We are going to start with the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to go again back a couple seasons, include the 2021 season. We're going to look at them when their previous opponent was an AFC opponent. So their previous opponent was a non-conference opponent. We'll hit the SDQL button. And you can see that the 49ers are a perfect 10-0 straight up, 10-0 against the spread. They were an average favorite of about -5.5, won the games by nearly a 17-point average. So they covered the spread by an average of 11.3 points per game. And this is not only active on Sunday when the Niners visit the Rams. You can see here it's active 4 more times this season where the Niners are coming off a game against an AFC opponent. So we're going to then look at NFL trend number 2. And guys, for NFL trend number 2, we're going to look at the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to again go back 2 seasons, include the 2021 season. We're just going to look at weeks 2 through 8. So basically the first half of the season, but not counting the opening week. So weeks 2 through 8, as long as the line it says is less than or equal to 6, which basically that's +6. So basically that means the line is they are either a favorite, a pick'em, or they are an underdog of +6 or fewer points. So we will hit the SDQL button, and you'll see that the Dallas Cowboys are a perfect 11-0 straight up, 11-0 against the spread. Despite being an average line of just -2.2, they won these games by basically 12.5 points per game, covering the spread by a little more than 10 points per game. And you can see that this is active this Sunday. The Cowboys hosting the Aaron Rodgers-less New York Jets. And you can see it lists weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 because, again, we're looking at weeks 2 through 8 in this query. And the only week it doesn't show is week 7, and that's because they have their bye that week. So this is going to be basically the Cowboys through their next 6 games. And that brings me to NFL trend number 3, our second to last trend of the day. Before I get to that, though, guys, a special deal I've got going on right now, 2 of them actually. If you go to my page at dbbets.com, you can see that I do have a Thursday night football play on this Vikings at Eagles game. The last trend I'm going to do in this video is active in this game, but the play I have on this game is not a play that coincides with that trend. Keep that in mind. So if you think you know what my play is here, you don't. But the special deal I've got going on right now on my page at dbbets.com is basically you can save $100 on my 30-day all-access pass, which would give you every play I release in college football, the NFL, and Major League Baseball for a full 30 days. If you use coupon code DB30, DB30 at checkout, or you can save $1,000 on my 1-year all-access pass. Get my all-access pass for just $9.99 for a year, which is less than $3 a day to get my biggest, strongest plays, all my 5% max bets. And that's going to cover NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, the NBA, college basketball. You just use coupon code DB365 at checkout. And when you're on my page at dbbets.com, you just scroll down, and on the right-hand side, you will see a heading for long-term and seasonal passes. And directly under that, it says All Sports Pass. You just click on the drop-down box right below that, and it says 30-day pass or 1-year pass. You just pick which one you want, and then at the checkout screen, you will then use the coupon code appropriate for that package. So if you chose the 30-day all access, you would use coupon code DB30. If you chose the 1-year all access, the absolute best deal that you'll ever get at Wager Talk is to get a handicapper's every single play for an entire year for about $2.75 a day. It never is going to get any better than that. Coupon code DB365 at checkout will get that for you as well at dbbets.com. So let's go to the second to last NFL trend for today. And we're going to look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go back to last season. Prior to week 17, when they're playing on a grass field. So this is one I don't think I used this parameter in last week's video, but you can go between grass and I'm not sure if it's artificial or if it's turf, how they have it worded in here. Let me try something real quick. Let me try turf. I don't think that's it, but I could be wrong. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. If I put artificial, yeah. So for turf, you have to actually put in artificial. You think turf would have been simpler to use, but they went with artificial. And actually, I just stumbled across something here. The over-under when they play on an artificial surface, going back to week 1 of last season, but before week 17 of last season, 0-5 over-under, staying under by more than 2 touchdowns per game. You can see this was active last week when they played in Minnesota in the Dome against the Vikings. It won't be active again until they're back in a dome playing the Saints in week 4. But you can keep that one in your back pocket. Again, every now and then, you never know. You just, and that's how it works with SDQL. Sometimes you're just messing around, trying to find some good angles, and accidentally you stumble across one that's pretty darn good. So, I mean, you're talking Tampa Bay playing how many games? What did they play? 17 games last season and then one this season. So, I mean, 5 games doesn't seem like a large sample size, but they didn't play all that many games. So for them to stay under by, a 2 touchdown margin, that's pretty impressive. But that's not what I really wanted to show you here. I wanted to show you when they played on grass in that time. And when they played on grass in that time, they are 0-10-1 against the spread. So they were an average favorite of about a field goal, lost by an average of about 4.5 points a game. So they lost to the spread by nearly 8 points per game. And you can see that this is active this week. It's going to be active for all the Bucs home games. You can see there's also a road game against the 49ers in week 11 where this will be active. A road game in Green Bay against the Packers in week 15 where this will be active. So again, this is another one of those trends where you can keep it in your back pocket because it will be active beyond this week. And that brings me to the 11th and final trend of this video. And it's the most convoluted one of them all. This trend is actually not pointing to any specific team. It's actually a league-wide trend, and it was shared with me by a friend of mine. He goes by Uno on X, or Twitter, as some of you still call it. And his handle on Twitter is @IHateYourBookie. Now, if you're going to follow anybody on Twitter and you're a bettor, you're going to want to follow a guy that's whose handle is @IHateYourBookie. So check him out on X. He does a lot of great SDQL work as well. So give him a follow. He's definitely worth the follow there as well. but he shared this trend with me, and it's an NFL wide trend. And we're going back to January 5th of 2020. So 2-digit year, month, 2-digit day, and then the 4-digit year at the beginning. So we're going back to January 5th, 2020. We're looking at road teams who are an underdog of less than plus 14, but at least plus 3. And we're looking at when these teams are coming off a loss in which they had more than 2 turnovers, and the total for the current game is higher than 43. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. These are tied together because they both refer to the previous game. So I count that as 4 parameters. So it's not terrible. I usually prefer my trends to have less parameters than that. But since this, especially when it's pointing to a specific player or coach or team, but since this is a league-wide trend, I'm okay with having what I consider 4 parameters here. Definitely okay with that. We're going to hit the SDQL button, and you can see that these teams are 22-0-3. 22 wins, no losses, 3 pushes. So that's a pretty impressive record going back, 3+ seasons. You can see that this trend is active tonight, and it points to the Minnesota Vikings getting the points in Philly tonight against the Eagles. This is going to be interesting to me because I did not bet the side in this game. If I would have, I probably would have taken the Eagles, but there's some things on their side I don't like either. They've got some defensive injuries, especially in the secondary, that kind of keeps me away. But yeah, this is an impressive trend, 22-0-3. Basically it's going back to the, 2019 season. So, again, very, very nice record here. The margin is nearly a touchdown a game that they covered. And again, I'm okay with the parameters because the number of parameters being that it is a league-wide trend and that it's not pointing to a specific team or player or coach. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up the 11 undefeated trends for this week. Again, if you guys have any trends you'd like me to look up for this weekend's games, drop them in the comments. I'll get to them when I can. If you have any you found, drop them in the comments as well. Don't forget about that special you see right there on the screen, or actually 2 specials at dbbets.com. Write those coupon codes down, DB30 to get $100 off my 30-day all access, and DB365 at checkout will get you $1,000 off my 1-year all access pass. No better deal than that one. Get all my plays for an entire friggin' year for about $2.75 a day. Doesn't get any better. dbbets.com, my friends. Until tomorrow, best of luck on all of your wagers.